the Vresic war room, a crystalline screen flickered to life as the human flagship's transmission arrived. Routine first contact protocol. The translator AI, steeped in decades of curated human war fiction, rendered the Admiral's words into a cold ultimatum. Greetings. We have selected this morning. Submit, or it will be your last.
He threatens us at dawn? The humans have never spoken like this before.
Divine Emperor. The AI was trained on their most terrifying war records. If it interprets a greeting as this, then they must see us as already dead.
Then we have no choice. Signal the Galactic Registry, unconditional surrender. Power down every weapon. Do it now, before they erase us.
The order flew through the Imperium's data streams before the Lavender Dawn touched the capital's highest dome. The Great War Fleet, arrayed for invasion, silently powered down. Every ship broadcast the stand-down code. The Empire's claws retracted.
11 years. I prepared for first contact. And now my legacy is a surrender before sunrise.
By 6 a.m. local, the Galactic Registry authenticated the Imperium's unconditional surrender, the first in its history. Aboard the human flagship TSV Pleasant Afternoon, Admiral Charles Whitfield slept soundly, utterly unaware that a single mistranslated word had just ended an empire. A sharp knock rattled Admiral Whitfield's cabin door. Lieutenant Cole didn't wait for a response.
What is it, Cole? It's not even 0600.
Sir, the Vresic Imperium has filed unconditional surrender with the Galactic Registry 10 minutes ago.
Surrendered. We haven't even started talks.
Whitfield took the datapad, scanning the official notice. The signature of Emperor Tharek glared back. It wasn't a drill.
Admiral, if the Vresic are this spooked, one wrong word could make it worse.
He typed a single line, "Wait, what?" and transmitted it directly to the Vresic capital. The reply flashed back almost instantly. "We have nothing left. We await your mercy."
That's not. Cole is our translator active. Why are the Vresic speaking like that?
He pulled up the translation logs, and his stomach dropped. The AI had twisted every word. This wasn't diplomacy, it was a catastrophe. Whitfield strode to the bridge and opened a priority channel to Earth. Director Vasquez appeared on the main viewer before the hailing tone faded.
Admiral, I've seen the Galactic Registry update. An unconditional surrender before negotiations even start. This is unprecedented.
Director, it's a translation error. Our greeting was mangled into a threat by their AI. They think we're about to glass their homeworld.
I've reviewed the translation logs. Their AI was fed decades of our war chronicles. Of course it interprets everything as aggression. This is a gift, Admiral.
A gift wrapped in a lie.
The Vresic were planning an invasion, Whitfield. Our intelligence confirms it. This surrender saves billions of lives on both sides. You will go to their capital and accept it.
And if they realize the mistake, if the translator turns another hello into a declaration of war,
That's precisely why you must go. Speak little, smile, and nod. We'll control the translator on our end, accept gracefully, renegotiate gently. That is your mission.
The screen went dark, and Whitfield stood alone beneath the dim bridge lights. The order was clear. Carry the lie. Within the hour, TSV Pleasant Afternoon adjusted course toward the Vresic capital. A peaceful surrender was too convenient to refuse. The shuttle descended through the lavender atmosphere. Touching down on the capital's landing platform, with a soft hiss, Admiral Whitfield stepped out to find a dozen Vresic officials prostrate on the polished flagstones, their crests flat in abject submission.
please, rise. I am not here to threaten you. I only want to talk.
The translator screen pulsed, and the Vresic heard, "Do not rise. Your fear sustains me."
We will remain prostrate, conqueror. Whatever you demand, we will give.
Every word I say becomes a weapon. This is worse than I imagined.
The divine Emperor Keval Tharek awaits in the throne room. He will personally offer his abdication.
Abdication. I am supposed to accept a surrender, not take his crown.
Nur led him through a corridor of towering obsidian pillars, past bowed guards, toward the immense doors of the throne room. The doors swung wide, revealing Emperor Tharek kneeling at the base of his throne. crown held trembling in his claws.
He's offering his crown. This is not a surrender. It's an abdication.
Great conqueror, I give you my throne. Spare my people, and I will serve as your lowest subject.
No, I don't want your throne. I came to accept your surrender peacefully, not to replace you.
The translator screen emitted a harsh chime and broadcast. Your throne is worthless. I will decide your fate.
Then take my bloodline. I offer my sons to your honor guard. Only end the terror.
He's offering his children, because the translator turned peacefully into I will decide your fate. Enough. I accept your surrender. I'll take the crown as a symbol of our new peace.
Trembling, the Emperor released the crown into Whitfield's hands, his crest flattening in utter defeat.
This is a lie I will carry forever, but I have no other move.
The throne room fell silent as the human admiral, by accident and translation, became the unchallenged ruler of the Vresic Imperium.
Advisor, Nur, I need a direct channel to my ship. No more translator interference. No more.
The translator is sacred to us. To bypass it would signal that our surrender is not accepted.
They think replacing the AI means I don't accept their submission. It only deepens their terror.
Please, Conqueror, let the machine speak your will. We have no other way to hear your mercy.
A coded message from Vasquez flashed on Whitfield's personal receiver. Status report. Maintain current translation protocol. No deviations.
Vasquez is watching. She's locking me into this farce. Very well. Keep your translator. I will speak through it.
Nur bowed deeply, relieved. Whitfield felt the last escape route close.
I am no longer an admiral. I am a puppet, speaking through a warped lens.
The charade was now unbreakable. Earth had its peace, and Whitfield had become its unwilling architect. Whitfield returned to TSV Pleasant Afternoon in silence, the Vresic crown cradled in his hands like a live grenade.
You knew the Vresic were preparing an invasion. You sent me down there, knowing their translator would twist every word I said.
I knew the AI was aggressive. Yes, I didn't foresee a full surrender in a single morning, but our intelligence confirmed their invasion was imminent. This saved billions.
So it's not just an error. It's a counterstroke we never fired.
Their AI was trained on decades of our war fiction, the most terrifying examples we ever created. It learned to see every human word as a threat. That was our luck.
She transmitted a file to his console, a list of curated inputs, propaganda reels, atrocity logs, dramatized war holos. The Vresic had fed their own machine a diet of nightmares.
So it was an accident. A fluke of bad data. You are asking me to believe that's all this is.
A fluke that saves billions. Don't pick at it, Admiral. Just complete the formalities and keep that crown safe.
The screen went dark. Whitfield stared at the crown on the console, then nodded once to the empty room. He accepted the explanation for now. But something about the training data felt too precise, too intentional for mere accident. In the Imperial War Room, Tharek sat motionless, the weight of the morning pressing on his ancient bones.
I approved the training data. Years ago, I ordered the AI fed with human war records. I thought I was preparing us.
Divine Emperor, you couldn't have foreseen this. The AI was meant to understand their tactics, not invite their wrath.
I fed it their worst nightmares. And now they speak through that machine, and we cower. What if they learn what we did?
They have not demanded our extinction. The Admiral took only a crown. Perhaps their mercy is real.
Or perhaps they are testing us, waiting for us to reveal our greatest folly. We will honor every term. No resistance, no pride. Our survival depends on absolute submission.
Outside, the capital's twin moons rose, marking midday. The Imperium, once poised for conquest, now waited in patient terror.
Then let us pray the humans never discover what we taught their words to mean.
Tharek did not answer. His gaze remained fixed on the empty translator screen, the architect of his ruin. In the ornate treaty hall, Whitfield drafted each clause by hand, carefully avoiding any word that might sound aggressive.
This should be clear enough. Prosperity, mutual respect, lasting peace, Nothing harsh.
Your mercy is profound, Conqueror. The translator will relay your grace.
The translator chime rang out, and the Vresic script shimmered over the hall speakers. Your prosperity is forfeit. You will respect your chains. Peace is obedience.
Every clause I wrote turned into a demand. It's as if the machine is deliberately hostile.
He tried again, softening the phrasing, but the output grew only colder. Submission periods. Tribute schedules. The AI filled gaps with its own nightmares.
We accept all conditions. Conqueror, do not strain your mercy further for our sake.
Number. That's not. Just proceed as it is. We'll sign it tonight.
The final treaty text, under the translator's lens, demanded total economic absorption and permanent military oversight. All from a man who meant partnership. Whitfield stood in the hallway, the crown heavy on a pedestal nearby, feeling like the tyrant the galaxy would soon believe he was. The treaty hall fell silent as Whitfield took the stylus. Tharek and Nur stood rigid, their crests flat.
With this, our nations will prosper together. I look forward to generations of friendship.
The translator chimed and broadcast, "Your resources will sustain our growth. Your children will serve our legacy."
All we have is yours, Conqueror. Our mines, our farms, our young, take them all.
It happened again. My words of peace, twisted into a demand for their very blood.
He pressed the stylus down, completing the signature. The hologram flared gold, binding the Empire to a treaty they never wrote. The Vresic delegation prostrated themselves fully, claws scraping the stone in ritual submission. The treaty had become an instrument of absolute dominion.
I am the architect of a conquest I never wanted, and they will never know the truth.
Without another word, Whitfield turned and walked from the hall, leaving behind a terrified empire and a lie that would reshape the galaxy. The treaty was signed. The Imperium was Earth's vassal, all because a single morning greeting had been fed through a machine of nightmares. Back in his cabin, Whitfield locked the crown away and stared at the signed treaty projection, its weight crushing. Vasquez's encrypted message cut through. "Admiral, the training data pattern is too targeted. Look again." He pulled up the file, scrolling past the titles to the metadata. Every file sourced from a single Vresic research division. The upload logs bore a single lab code, a ghost in the machine. Someone had carefully selected the humanity's darkest records.
This wasn't an accident. It's surgical. Whoever fed this AI wanted the Vresic to fear us like death incarnate.
The realization hit. The translator error wasn't a malfunction. It was sabotage from within the Imperium.
If this gets out, the Vresic will tear themselves apart, and Earth will bury the secret to protect the peace.
He ran a personnel search. A single profile surfaced, name redacted. Only the initial K remained.
Someone inside their own empire. Someone who knew exactly which terrors would make them submit. This changes everything.
Whitfield saved the data. He would find K not for Earth, not for the Vresic, but for his own conscience. Whitfield sent a coded query to an old intelligence contact, a man who owed him a silent favor. The exchange was brief. A sealed data chip and a single spoken word, "Corral," back in his cabin. Whitfield inserted the chip. A sparse personnel file bloomed on the screen. Vresic Science Division, Project Clear Mind. The scientist was a pacifist, author of multiple treatises on non-violent first contact protocols. His last entry was marked Authorized Absence and dated 11 years ago.
A Vresic who wanted peace, working inside their own war machine. He must have known exactly what he was doing.
Before he could dig deeper, Vasquez's face filled the screen, direct line, unscheduled.
You are prying into classified Vresic intelligence. I am ordering you to stop. Do not contact outside assets again.
A Vresic defector fed their own AI the worst possible data. A man who dedicated his life to peace. I need to know why.
That, why, could unravel everything we've gained. I am not asking, Admiral. Stand down.
Whitfield's hand moved to the terminal. He didn't answer. The channel died, and Kral's face returned to the screen, his silent accusation louder than any order. Whitfield broke the encryption on K. Kral's personal logs with a command override Vasquez didn't know he had. The first entry scrolled across the screen. The Imperium plans invasion. They see humans as weak. I must change their perception before it is too late. Another entry, dated months later, listed files, human war hollows, atrocity records, propaganda reels, carefully selected and uploaded to the Translator AI's training corpus.
He didn't just pick randomly. He chose the most brutal examples humanity ever recorded.
A later entry. Let them see humanity as monsters. Fear will stay their hand when diplomacy cannot. If I succeed, no Vresic ship will ever fire on a human vessel. Whitfield sat back, the weight of the revelation settling on him. Kral had sacrificed his own people's pride to save their lives.
He was a hero, not a traitor. And he did it alone, knowing he'd never be thanked.
The final log entry was a single line. I have completed the upload. Now I must disappear. If they find me, they will undo it. For peace, I accept my erasure.
He erased himself for a peace he'd never see. And I am the one who handed him that peace wrapped in a lie.
Whitfield copied every file to a secure offline drive. He owed Kral that much to keep the truth alive until the galaxy was ready. A Vresic death registry, buried in the intelligence data, confirmed Kral's passing. He had died decades ago, alone, in a remote border settlement.
No family, no funeral. He just vanished from the galaxy he saved.
Among the logs, a hidden file decoded into a holographic message, addressed to whoever finds this, if peace still holds.
If you see this, my plan worked. The Imperium surrendered instead of burning. I regret only that I could not live to see it. Do not mourn me. I chose erasure to give both our peoples a chance. Let the lie stand until it is no longer needed.
He knew the lie would be necessary. He forgave us in advance.
One day, when both worlds are ready, let them know, but not a moment sooner. For peace, I am content to be forgotten.
The hologram smiled softly, then dissolved into motes of light. Kral had left nothing else.
I will carry your secret, Kral, but I will also write it down. When I am gone, the galaxy will know.
He opened a blank document. Title: The Morning Peace Began, and began to write the truth that would outlive him. Whitfield requested an in-person meeting with Vasquez, carrying the data chip containing Kral's final hologram. It felt like evidence in a trial.
You brought me here to show me a ghost? I don't have time for your guilt, Admiral.
His name was Kral, a Vresic scientist who fed the translator Humadid's aloud, Humadid's darkest records to terrify his own people into surrender.
I suspected this. The inputs were too precise, but I never confirmed because I didn't want to know.
She ordered him to delete every trace. The truth, she said, would unravel the fragile peace they'd built.
If this leaks, the Vresic will call the surrender fraudulent. Civil war will erupt, and Earth's credibility dies across the galaxy.
She's not wrong. But erasing him again feels like killing a man who already sacrificed himself. I'll bury it, but I've written a full account, sealed to be released after my death. That's my condition.
Then see that your memoirs stay locked until you are cold. That's the only way this works.
Whitfield left the office. The truth was secure, but so was the lie. Kral would have to wait a little longer for his due. 40 years later, the grand ballroom shone with human and Vresic dignitaries. The alliance was now the cornerstone of galactic peace.
I remember the morning our worlds met. A strange morning, full of misunderstandings that somehow became the foundation of trust. The crowd sees an architect of peace. They don't see the ghost I carry.
He looked out at the audience, a human girl and a Vresic hatchling sitting side by side, sharing a sweet.
The lie bought this, but the peace is real.
After the applause faded, he returned to his study. The sealed memoir waited on the desk.
I kept my promise. Kral, the truth is ready, but the world still needs the lie.
His fingers brushed the seal, but he did not open it.
Soon,
The memoir stayed sealed, a silent witness to 40 years of peace built on a lie. Whitfield's will instructed the release of his memoir, On the 10th anniversary of his death, the galaxy held its breath.
Ladies and gentlemen, Admiral Whitfield's memoir presents evidence that the Vresic surrender was engineered by a scientist named Kral.
The memoir detailed how Kral meticulously fed human war horrors to the translator, ensuring the Vresic would see humanity as an existential threat. In the Vresic capital, the Imperial Council watched in stunned silence. Emperor Cavell Mech's crest stood rigid with disbelief.
Whitfield writes, "We did not conquer them. They surrendered to a phantom we never created."
The Vresic government issued a terse denial, calling the logs forgeries. But when the hologram of Kral was broadcast, the denials fell apart. Across both worlds, the public split. Some called Whitfield a hero, others a fraud. The alliance teetered on a knife's edge.
I served under Whitfield. He carried this burden for 40 years. The question now, can the truth set us free, or will it tear us apart?
The memoir's final page bore Whitfield's last words. Judge the peace, not its origin, but let the world remember the man who made it possible. The galaxy would now decide, and the fragile alliance entered its darkest hour. 3 days after the memoir broke, Emperor Cavell Mrek approached the podium in the Grand Council chamber. His crest lowered not in fear, but in contemplation.
For 40 years, we believed we surrendered to monsters. Today, I tell you we surrendered to a phantom placed there by one of our own to save us.
He activated a holographic bust of Kral, blue scales, weary eyes, the scar across his snout. The scientist who vanished 40 years ago now gazed upon the galaxy he had saved.
Kral fed our translator the worst of humanity's nightmares, so we would fear them enough to never start a war. His treason was his greatest act of love.
The human ambassador at his side nodded, reading a joint declaration. Kral of Vresic shall be remembered as a hero of both peoples. His sacrifice, the quiet cornerstone of our peace. Across the capital, the angry demonstrations fell silent. Street screens replaced protest slogans with Kral's face, and the galaxy began to heal. Plans were drawn for a memorial on Earth, a statue of Kral in a silent park, his hand resting on a scroll that read, "For peace, I accept my erasure."
The lie gave us peace. The truth gave us a hero. Perhaps we are stronger for both.
The translator AI, now understanding its own role, displayed a final message. Legacy system retired with honors. Its accidental menace had become a bridge, and the alliance, born from misunderstanding, now stood on a foundation of shared truth, stronger than even Whitfield had imagined. 1 year later, the Kral Memorial Park opened on a green hill overlooking Earth's capital. Humans and Vresic gathered in equal numbers. Whitfield's daughter, now elderly, placed a wreath at the statue's base beside her own grandchildren. 3 generations bound by a lie they now honored.
Recorded voice. I never met Kral, but I carried his hope for 40 years. Today, his silence ends and his peace begins.
His granddaughter stepped forward and pulled a cord. The white sheet fell, revealing the statue of Kral, his claw resting on a scroll. The scroll read, in both human and Vresic script, "For peace, I accept my erasure." A murmur swept the crowd as they read the words. A Vresic elder, his crimson scales faded with age, touched the statue's base and wept. He had been a soldier the day the surrender came. Human and Vresic children ran together among the flower beds, unaware of the shadows that had birthed their playground. The sun sank below the skyline, casting long shadows that merged into one. Kral's statue stood sentinel over a peace he had never lived to see. In the decades that followed, the memorial became the holiest site of the Alliance, a quiet reminder that some misunderstandings are worth keeping, and the translator AI, retired with full honors, silently archived the first words of the piece, a mistranslated greeting that had, by accident, saved 2 worlds. Decades earlier, in a dim laboratory on Vresic, scientist Kral worked alone. The hum of organic machinery filled the silence.
The Imperium will invade. All my treaties, all my logic ignored. They see humans as prey.
He selected the most terrifying human war records he had studied for years. Atrocities, nuclear fire, cities turned to ash. He uploaded them to the Translator AI. The progress bar crawled. He watched, motionless.
For peace. For both our species.
The upload completed. He deleted his access logs, his personnel file, every trace of his existence in the system. Years later, in a remote border settlement, Kral lay on a simple bed. His scales were faded, but his eyes held a quiet contentment.
I never saw the peace, but I feel it. No invasion, no extinction. It was enough.
He died with the secret. Beside him lay a data chip labeled simply, "For the one who ends the war." Decades later, that chip would find its way to a human admiral, setting in motion a revelation that would reshape two worlds. Decades after the memorial, on a joint colony world beneath twin suns, a schoolyard rang with laughter. Human and Vresic children climbed the same frames, their differences invisible to the young. A teacher read from an old memoir, Whitfield's words echoing across the playground. Some truths are like scaffolding. They can be removed when the bridge holds. The children did not understand the shadows of the past. They only knew the sun on their faces. A Vresic hatchling helped a human girl to her feet after a stumble, claw and hand clasping without fear. That simple gesture carried the weight of 100 years of history, and yet it weighed nothing at all. Whitfield's memoir lay open on the teacher's lap, its final passage highlighted. Peace is not the absence of lies, but the presence of trust. The teacher closed the book. The children's laughter continued, undisturbed, the true monument to the peace that had been bought with a lie and redeemed with a truth. And on a distant hill, the memorial statue of Kral stood facing the sunrise, as if watching over the first true morning of the Alliance. In a silent museum on Earth, the original Translator AI terminal sat beneath glass, its crystalline panel still faintly lit. A line glowed on the screen. Mistranslation probability 0.0001%. Legacy system retired with honors. Beside it, a brass plaque read, "Some misunderstandings are worth keeping." Visitors paused, reading the words aloud, as if testing their weight. Above the exhibit, a vast holographic star map soared, charting the Alliance's golden trade routes across the spiral. Ships of both species moved along the lines, no longer warships but carriers of grain and data. The translator's error had become a quiet foundation for a peace no one had planned, and the old AI, still humming softly, ran its final diagnostic, a loop that had not been stopped in 70 years. The galaxy turned, indifferent to the strange morning that had reshaped it. But the Alliance endured, and the plaque still read, as it would for centuries, "Some misunderstandings are worth keeping."